Hey Aquarius, what's up? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Justice. The second card that we have is Nine of Pentacles. Eight of Wands. The way that this is looking to me is Justice feels like needing to master the balance of something. Nine of Pentacles feels like being able to come out of something. Like, if Justice, that type of balance is what's needed, and this can be like moderation that's needed, or this can be proper prioritizing that's needed, or just anything that there needs to be some type of balance with it. It feels like in mastering this, and this can maybe even be some social balance. This can be balance between like social life and maybe home life or responsibilities. Like, it's gonna be, it feels like something having to do with there being multiple things and needing those to be in a state of balance. And this can also be too, when we have Justice, doing things in a way where you're like, I'm honoring myself and I'm honoring my values here. And also too, I'm making sure that I'm not doing this and then neglecting that over there. Like, there's a way to sort of balance everything that you have going on. So having Justice be there. The next card out that we have is the Nine of Pentacles. This feels like in learning how to balance what needs to be balanced, Nine of Pentacles to me feels like now I don't have to be in that loop anymore, and now things are moving forward. So here's the balance. For those of you that want to know, this deck is called the Fountain Tarot deck. So it feels like in the balance, it allows you to come out of something. Like, I see this as being cycles that we've been in. And this feels like being able to emerge out of it. You had to balance something, otherwise you're going to go around and around and around. But now that something is being learned, like now that you're learning how to do something that needed to be learned, it allows you to come out of that. Like, you've transcended some type of cycle. And I see this too as being like freedom or some type of liberation. Because Nine of Pentacles is also about where you want to be. And then having that Eight of Wands shows like you coming out of this and going directly somewhere. And this can also mean like a lot of progress that's made, or this can be like I don't feel like I'm blocked anymore. Either I feel like stuff isn't getting in my way and I can finally move forward. So if there was something that you needed to learn how to do, how to maintain, how to organize, how to balance, it feels like in the learning how to do that, it allows you to not have to repeat a cycle again. And now that was the thing that was maybe blocking you from moving forward, was needing to learn that. Now that that's happening, nothing is getting in your way. Balance of some sort. It can be work-life balance. It can be showing up for others, showing up for myself. So Justice is Libra. Now we also have the Star, which is Aquarius. We have Knight of Wands, Four of Swords, and the Star. The Knight of Wands that's in this deck also feels like a card of balance to me, because it's kind of like that thing that's on the person's back where there's a need to hold it up. And so you sort of have to have it in like your neck be at the middle of that to hold both sides of this. So I'm also seeing this as being a card of balance. And this can be balance between action and rest. This is Knight of Wands, this is Four of Swords. Four of Swords is that resting, that stillness, and when we have Knight of Wands, that's about movement, sort of running around, doing what we want to be doing, and having these two come together feels like that meeting of exerting energy and then restoring energy. And having the star there, it feels like, it reminds me of a machine that you have to make go like back and forth, and that's what makes it go. I'm like imagining something that's on a track, and like one side goes up and then the other side goes up, and it sort of goes back and forth like that, or like a pedal of some sort, that when both sides are balanced, that's when the movement happens, because this feels like the direction that one is going in, and that like around and around and around, like even though there can be like a little bit of a back and forth, there's constantly an ascending that's happening. And so now you can feel like things aren't really getting in your way, and more than anything, like you're not getting in your way anymore. Because this feels too like knowing when to hit the brakes, when to hit the gas, when to cruise. And also too, I feel like you can relax as well. Where maybe that wasn't happening. Balance, because it's not just like I'm relaxing or I'm sitting around and I'm not doing anything, and it's also not I'm running around and running around and running around and not taking any time. This feels like the balance between those things. So there's kind of a little bit of everything here. Knight of Swords, King of Wands. Knowing when to do something and when to not. Because King of Wands is the master of knowing when to take action and also when not to take action. And having this be linked with the Knight of Swords, which Knight of Swords can sometimes be like without fully processing it, I'm going to say that thing, or I'm going to do that thing, or I'm going to move forward with it. Having King of Wands there feels like a medium. And also too, now that I'm looking at the card with the King of Wands, it sort of looks like this person is balancing as well. Like there's a like something here and this person is balancing. Also kind of looks like climbing as well. Kind of like the way that the star card is too. How there's like the ascension, the direction, the progress that one is going in, but there needing to be that sense of balance, because there can be a like falling off, just like with this card as well. And so that knowing when to move this way, when to move that way, when to like move without there being something maybe grounding it, versus when to maybe pivot in the same it feels like a balance between moving like laterally and then going up vertically, and knowing when to do both of these things. Something too that I'm seeing here is in this Knight of Swords card, if you look at this, it almost looks like there's a rope around this person. And I feel like this is tethered to the King of Wands, which is like knowing when to unleash this and knowing when to like keep it on a leash. So like I was saying before about when to take action and when not to take action. When there being something that's coming together. Okay. And then we also have Ace of Cups and Queen of Swords. So many court cards that we have here. We have Knight of Wands, Knight of Swords, King of Wands, Queen of Swords. I feel like this is helping your energy be where it needs to be in order for you to participate in what presents itself to you when you want to. And knowing that progress is not only made within the movement and the exertion, but also in the stillness and the resting too. All of it. Because you can also see, we have Four of Swords in the very center of this spread. You can also see resting and recharging, or grounding and centering, or pausing and stilling. You can see that as making progress just as much as exerting is, because you can't continuously exert unless you are also taking time to recharge. And so one allows the other. It's like the polarity of this. That one balances out the other. One enables the other. You exert and then you get tired, so that allows you to rest. And then you rest and you regain the energy, and then you can move. And these being something that they work hand in hand with one another. And I do get this sense again of knowing when to move forward and when to pause and when to wait. Because Justice is above Knight of Wands and Knight of Swords, and we can see these as being the quickest knights to move. So having that balance be there between them. There's also a balance between the feeling and what's going on mentally, and those things sort of working with one another. Like, I'm not just feeling something and gonna do it without thinking about it, or I'm not just being like all up in my head and then gonna take action without sort of consulting my gut and what I'm feeling. There needs to be that balance between the two. Or I'm not just gonna do this from a place of like not feeling inspired, or not do this from a place where I'm not fully present, or as present as I can be in a moment. I feel too like maybe in the beginning of tapping into the energy of the King of Wands, there can be a, like, I need to constantly be moving and doing things and being busy. And as the King of Wands energy matures, there is that recognition of the stillness being just as important, and the knowing when not to do something, when not to take action, when not to jump on that, when to be still, when to pause. And to also sit and think about things as well. That the silence informs the action. I do get this sense too, starting with Justice and then ending with Ace of Cups and Queen of Swords. This feels like connection is becoming available, and you can see this as being something that aligns more so with your values presently, and you being aware of what those values are, and that being something important here. Like, this isn't just, oh, an opportunity is there and I'm just gonna grab it without thinking about it, or I'm not gonna stay here stuck overthinking and then not do something about it. It's like that, again, that balance that I'm seeing here with things. And it feels very much like these destined connections that are being made, having the Star and the Ace of Cups here. This feels like things that feel ideal, and it's because of you really moving, I think, in alignment with the path by tuning in and feeling it out. Like moving through it in a way where you're present, and so you know just naturally when to move and when to pause and when to sleep and when to be awake, all of that. And you can also be using your discernment too with what it is that you're connecting with and what it is that you're nurturing and what it is that you're allowing to, like what you're plugging into. Because having that Queen of Swords be connected with the Ace of Cups, there's thought that's being put into what you are watering, and that being important. That there's thought behind it, that there's presence behind it. And I think too that you want this to flow with what you have going on rather than oppose. I wonder too if something felt like it was moving in an opposite direction, because Knight of Wands is moving one way and Knight of Swords is moving the other way. So I wonder if this was about needing to get different parts of you on the same page. And if you were having this feeling of, there's a part of me that wants to do this, but then there's another part of me that wants to do that, there could have been a stilling that was needed in order for you to get that clear guidance and clear direction about what to do, rather than being like, now I'm just going to take action and everything's going to be really chaotic. This feels like I'm feeling pulled in two different directions right now, and I'm going to just pause right now and actually think about this and then move, and then the blocks aren't there anymore. And it feels very much like the right direction sort of unfolds. It unfurls, and it doesn't feel like there's nothing getting in the way anymore. It feels like stuff is just cleared out, so then you can move. Whereas we start with that not necessarily being the feeling. There can be a feeling of being split, but then when we get to the end of this, there's a conscientiousness and also an awareness that's there that wasn't necessarily there before yet, because stuff needed to sort of come to light. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.